Hey designer, Alex here, welcome to the channel, and in this video we are going to continue where we left off the previous time. And in this video we are actually going to start designing our app in Adobe XD. But before we do, I just want to quickly show you what we are actually going to create. So here is our app, it's called Shopee. So when you click right here, for example, it's going to take you to this screen. So basically on this previous screen, you can see different outfits and you can choose the outfit clothes that you want to buy based on your mood or based on what you want to do that day or the next day. So if I choose casual, it will take me to the casual outfit, and you can see all of these various parts of the casual outfit, and you can see all of those same pieces down below. So you can click and scroll between those different pieces and see how much they cost. And if you want to learn more about individual pieces, then you can simply click on any of these and it's going to show you an image of that piece and it's going to show you a basic description. And you can do that for all the pieces in your outfit. Or if you want to learn more, you can click right here. It will take you to the specific piece of the outfit where you can see the price, the name, the larger description, and you can choose the size. So for example, if I want to choose M or L, or let's say I want to choose this color, or maybe even better this color, and I want to add it to bag. So when I do that, you can see my cart. So just imagine that we added all of these pieces to cart. You can see, same like in our wireframe, the amount and the color right here. You can see the size, you can see the price, the name of the item, and finally the total price. And when you click pay now, it's going to take you to the confirmation screen where it's going to say thank you for the purchase, and it's going to take you back to home. So when you click there, it's going to take you back to the outfit selection. There is a practice file in the description of this video for you to download if you want to follow along, and you can download that file and let's start designing. So if you downloaded the practice file, here is how it looks like, and you can see the colors right here on the left. You can see the character styles, and I use Noto Sans, and I provided the link in the description. It's a free Google font and you can download it and use it if you want to achieve the same results I did right here. And finally, we have some basic components. So we have back and back arrow icons. We have the check mark for the final confirmation screen. We also have the close icon for that preview of the outfit. And finally, we have the logo right here. Images are premium images from Envato Elements, so I cannot give you links to those. I will provide you the link to the Envato Elements if you want to check it out. It's going to be linked down below, but if not, you can simply find similar images on Unsplash, for example, and websites like these. But I really like websites like Envato Elements because it provided me with sets of images. So I can choose, for example, one model, and I can choose 60 or 100 different images of that same model wearing the same outfit in the same location and so on. So there is a lot of variety in those premium images rather than simply finding one or two free images on Unsplash. So without any further ado, let's get started. If I click right here on my home screen and I provided you with all of these artboard names, and if I click right here, I just altered the layout a little bit. So we still have 4 columns as we always do in these mobile app designs. We have gutter width of 29, column width of 59. So basically these blue bits are your columns and gutters are these empty spaces, these white spaces between your columns. And finally, this right here are your margins. So linked margins left and right are 36, and margins are these spaces on the left and right towards the edges of your artboard. So basically those are linked, which means that the same space is on the left and the right. You can unlink them if you click right here, and then you can add different margins to top, bottom, left and right. I'm not going to do that because it's really extremely simple for me to have linked margins and to have the same space, and basically it's easier for developers to do that too. So what I'm actually going to start with is with our wireframes. So if I jump to my folder and I go ahead and drag and drop my wireframes in, you'll remember that these were the wireframes that we draw in the previous video. So this is the first one, this is the second one. All I did is use my scanner and scan them in. If you don't have your scanner, then you can simply use your phone, snap some images, drag and drop them into your computer from your phone, and then drag and drop them inside of Adobe XD like I did right here. And this is useful if you don't have them on paper. I have them on paper with me, but I want you to see them as well because we drew them in the previous video. So we are going to use them as references. Because I finished my design, I have my references, but I'm going to show you how you can do this. So you don't have to drag and drop them in XD. As I said, you can use them if you have them on paper, but if not, for example, somebody from the team or your client sent them in, then it's really easier for you to drag and drop them in Adobe XD rather than finding a printer, printing them out, wasting paper, and so on. So without any further ado, let's now jump into the design process, and I'm going to start by clicking on our logo. I'm going to drag and drop it right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to hide my grid lines because you guys always complain that you cannot see them. I'm going to place it 20 pixels down, so like this. Then I'm going to hit Ctrl C and select all of my other artboards instead of the last one, or we can even select the last one, it really doesn't matter. Hit Ctrl or Command V to paste it in. It's going to paste it in exactly the same spots as on this first one. So now let's go ahead and start creating our cards. So for our cards, what we want to do is basically create one card, then use repeat grid, and then repeat that card all over that other space. So before we do that, let's quickly use the type tool right here and type in outfit selection. I'm going to use this one, which is bold and 18. Click right here, make sure it's in the center. And then I'm going to simply see to position it 40 pixels from our logo, like so. Once again, make sure it's in the middle. And now let's actually start creating our cards. So for that, I'm going to bring my layout back, but I'm going to click on my columns and lower the opacity a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Then I'm going to use my rectangle tool, and let's quickly draw a rectangle which is 2 columns wide, like so. Let's use the dimensions of let's say 136 with 170. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, make sure that we are there, but let's quickly extend it to 137 so it meets with our column, like so. And 170 is our width. Let's go with 10 for the corner radius on all sizes, and let's include a background shadow for this one. We're going to use 5 for X and Y's, and for the blur let's use the 10, like so. And if you think this is too strong, you can lower it down, let's say to 10% or something like that. I'm going to remove our border, like so. And what I'm going to do next is use this exactly the same shape, so hit Ctrl D. I'm going to go back and rename these. First of all, move them down. This is going to be called product card BG. This is going to be called product IMG for image. And that product image is going to be, let's see, 131. Like so. So just a little bit lower. And then I'm going to jump in right here, and for the bottom left and right corners, so this 0 and 0. So these two bottom ones are straight and these two are curved on top. What I'm going to do next is go down and hit the shadow so that I can switch it off. And finally, what I'm going to do is duplicate this, move it down, and just make sure that this is 40 from here. So shift 1, 2, 3, 4. So 40 down, like so. Then I'm going to click right here and make sure that this is 14. So click right here, and I'm going to call it casual, like so. Finally, what I'm going to do is make sure that this casual is 10 from both sides, like so. So you can see that it's 10 on top, 10 on the bottom. So 10 from the image and 10 from the bottom of our product card BG. I'm going to move it right here. Then I'm going to group it in, call it product like so. Or maybe even better, let's call it look, because these are the looks after all. Then hit repeat grid. And what I'm going to do is jump right here. But before I do, let's do something else, because this background shadow is distracting us. So I'm going to switch it off for now. Then hit the repeat grid, because it's going to be easier for us to snap in the position. So if I jump in, double click right here, go to our columns and click like so, just so that we can see it a little bit better, because these are white. Or we can even change the color of our board to DDD, for example, just so that we can see where our cards are, because as I said, they are white. So if I jump right there and extend this until it meets on all sides. So if I zoom in a lot closer, you can see it's aligned with this grid line. If I jump right here, you can see it's aligned on the right as well. And that's basically it. All we need to do is extend it down. But before we do, let's quickly narrow it. But we are going to need to extend it down just a little bit, because of that shadow, which we are going to include in just a second. So there we have it. Now let's go back to the first one, bring back the shadow. And what I'm going to do now is simply extend it on the sides, so the shadow can fill in, as you can see right here. And also on these bottom ones, because it's cut off now, but all the way up to here. And that's basically it for this part. I'm going to click right there, go back to white color, then go back to my first one, click on my product image, and then locate my images. I'm going to drag and drop them below. As you can see, it populated the entire repeat grid. And what I'm going to do now is simply double click and adjust some of these images so they fill in a little bit better. So what I'm doing is holding Shift, Alt and left click on my mouse so that I can enlarge them evenly, and then simply using Shift to align them left, right, top, bottom evenly, like so. Maybe down. So once again, Shift, Alt, left click to enlarge it evenly, and then simply hold your Shift key until you're happy with the result. Make sure this is in the middle, for example, like so. So once again, as for these images, they're extremely high quality and extremely large. So majority of images you're going to download on Envato Elements, if you actually decide to use Envato Elements for your projects, are somewhere in around 8K or 6K resolution, so extremely high quality. So if you decide to use them, then you can simply jump and reduce the size of those images in something like Riot or Optimize Me or something like that, because those images are huge, and if you drag and drop them in original size, it will clog your XD file, and your XD file is going to become extremely big. So just keep that in mind. Let's now change the names to all of these. So this is going to be called Sporty, like so. Now let's go to the next one, Elegant. Let's go to the next one, Night Out. You can also create a file, a text file, and you can include all of these in your text file. And then same like we did with images, you can simply drag and drop your text file in on the first one, and it's going to populate all of these other ones. Just make sure to position your text files in the order you want to see them right here in your video, in your file. So that's basically it for the first screen. We can now move on to the second screen. So before we do, let's quickly jump right here to our wireframe and remind ourselves what the second screen is actually going to be. So we have the back icon right here, which is going to take us back to the original outfit selection screen. We have the bag, so we can add all our items to bag. We have the outfit name, so basically it goes from here to here and it translates that name, so in our case casual. We have the image with all of these different circles which are going to expand and show different information about different items. And finally we have outfit pieces, which are all the pieces from this outfit located down below, and users can scroll them left and right. So now let's start. What I'm going to do is first let's create a circle. So I'm going to create a circle like so. For our back icon, let's call it icon BG. And let's make sure it's 40 by 40. So we don't want something which is too large. What I'm going to do next is use the color DDD. Let's quickly jump right here, or we can use this color, for example. Just hit 4 on your keyboard and lower the opacity to 40%, for example. I'm going to do that and leave it at that. Or if you think it's too light, let's quickly check it out. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. So let's use the back arrow from here, simply drag and drop it inside. And what you can do is simply position it right here in the center, like that. Or you can do it the faster way, simply select both of them and click like so. Then hit Ctrl D, duplicate this icon BG, bring the grid back, position it to here, go here and use the back icon, insert it inside, and I'm going to do that. What I'm going to do next is group them, so hit Ctrl G on these two, move them both below our logo. And what I'm actually going to do is, let's see, maybe we can position it at 12 from the logo. So 10, 12, just to give us a little bit of a space. So this is going to be back icon. And this is going to be back icon. And I always like to rename my layers as I work along, because you will see it will come the time for you to deliver this design to your client, and then you will hear from developer saying you didn't rename your layers, I don't know what anything is, and so on and so forth. So it's always easier for you to rename your layers as you go along. So I just duplicated this text and I'm going to write in casual outfit right here. I'm going to position it in the center, and once again make sure it's in the center like so. There we have it. We have completed our casual preview. I'm going to move this right here. Now what we need for the bag is we need that number right here. So what I'm actually going to do is duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate this circle, hit Ctrl D, then hit 0 on my keyboard, or you can click right here to bring it back to 100%. You can go here, click to this green color, and you can hold your shift key and then move it like that. For some reason it didn't duplicate, so let me do that one more time. Hit Ctrl D, it now did. 0 and 4 on this one. Now this is going to be called cart items BG, like that, and then for it green color. And for the size, let's use half, so let's use 20 by 20. Let's position it like so, and perhaps like this. So you can see it's in the center, like this. So simply hold your shift key and you can see, and I position it to the right side of this bag icon. So what I need next is the text. So hit Ctrl D on this one, for example. Let's use the smallest one we have right here, like that. Position it somewhere around here. Let's use something like 0. And then you can position that 0 in the center, like this, or you can simply use your shift key like that. 0 is going to be white, so click like there. And let's now group them. So hit Ctrl G. I'm going to call this cart items, like that, position it on top, and there we have it. We have completed our bag icon. Obviously this number is going to update as soon as users add something to the cart, so you can see how that looks like. Perhaps I can even lower it down and make sure that we add a new one. So let's go with 8. Yeah, I think 8 works better because it's a lot smaller. I'm going to position it right there and simply click right here to add new character style. Let's go back and let's now continue with our design. What we are going to do next is basically add the background image, so the image you see right here. So let's call it outfit image, and for it, let's go all the way from the top, all the way down. Let's remove the border. I'll use DDD just so you can see where the image goes. Let's call it outfit image, like that. And for it, let's use 375 with 609, like that. That will give us a lot of space. Then I'm going to drag and drop my image inside, double click in, make sure it goes like this, for example, so that we can have enough space for it. And we want these glasses to go just a little bit down below this. So now you can see that we have a problem. We cannot see the logo anymore, and this is not really clear. So how can we get around that is by adding the gradient. So I'm going to copy and paste the gradient I already used in, and I'm going to explain what I did with it. I positioned it right here at the bottom. I'm going to select everything, hit Ctrl G and call it top info, so it doesn't distract us at all. So let's go back to the gradient so you can see what I did. So instead of a regular color, which is solid color, you just choose linear gradient. And what we have right here is the gradient which goes from white color to black color. And you can see that the white is not completely white. You can see it's 5D, 5D, 5D. And the black is not completely black. It's 77777. So you can use exactly the same values I did. So you can see if I click on some of these handles, and the other handle is right here. So this is our white handle, and this is our black handle, and this is our white handle. So it goes from black to white from top to bottom. And black color, as you can see, is at 100% opacity, while the white color is 0% opacity. White just goes outside of the borders a little bit, and black, as you can see, it goes all the way down. So if I narrow it down, you can see how that looks like. I'm going to move it up a little bit, and once again with the white, you can see it goes all the way to here. But if I leave it like that, you can see that now we have this harsh edge of our gradient. So we don't want that, and you can use, as I said, exactly the same settings I did. You can see the gradient still, and you can play around with it, but I think it looks fine like that, and it's not really all that noticeable with this specific image. What I'm actually going to do is click on my text and turn it into white color, because it stands just a little bit better. Also, I really don't like these backgrounds of our icons. So if I can jump right there, if I can go to my icons like that, choose DDD for the light gray, and I like how that looks like a lot better. So you can use DDD for the color. You can see how that looks like, and icons are standing a lot better than this. Why we didn't use white icons? It's simple, because we have the white number right here, and I don't want them to clash. Also, if you use white, this color is not going to be good. You have to use darker one, then you have to change the gradient and so on. So simply find what works best for you and then simply go with it. Next, let's create that bottom section. So if I take you right back one more time, you can see that we have this bottom section with images there. So for that section, let's quickly jump inside, and I will call it bottom BG. Let's use the rectangle tool like that. What I'm actually going to do is use for top and top left and top right radiuses. We're going to use 20 and then 20 again, as you can see what that does. And finally, let's use 375 with 223. So it goes just a little bit over our image like that. We're going to remove the border, obviously. And what I'm going to do is click right here, Control C, click right here, Control V, position it, let's say 20. I think it works well, yes. And then call this casual outfit pieces. Like that. And because we are on a casual outfit, we want to show the pieces, obviously, so that is where the pieces are going to go below. So finally, what we need to do is now let's create a sections right here, which are going to contain images of our outfit pieces. So how can we do that? Let's first rename this to bottom BG, like that. I'm going to move it like this, move it here. Then I'm going to duplicate this like so. Make sure that I select this. Let's call it 29, for example, for the price, because once again, if I take you back, you can see that we have the price and we have the name of the item. So this is going to be the price, obviously. Let's position it to be left aligned, Control D to make a copy, and let's call this one a shirt, like that. And what I'm going to do is make sure that they are at, let's see, 15. Yes, that works well. Now for the price, we are going to use this color. And now let's quickly bring back our grid. So if we click there, bring back our grid, lower the opacity down just so you can see it a little bit better. And then use the rectangle tool. And for the image, let's see what we can do. Maybe we can have it 100 by 100. Like that. And for the corner radius, let's use 10. Let's use shadow without any border. For the shadow, let's use 5, 5, 10. So same like we did on the home screen. And finally, let's position it 40 from the text on top. So shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it goes from both sides. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to position these two in the center like this. Make sure that they go all the way to the line. And let's see, maybe we can position them to be at 20. Yeah, I think that works well. So what I'm going to do is rename this, obviously, as product image, like that. Then I'm going to group them and call them jacket, for example, or let's even go with product, like that. And what I'm going to do then is hit repeat grid and make duplicates. So I'm going to make 4 of them. And for this first one, let's go with pants. Price is going to be 47, for example, or 43. Next one is shoes, and shoes are going to be 87. And finally we have glasses, and glasses are going to be 15, like that. Now finally I need to include my images, and to do that I'm going to drag and drop them inside. So basically same like we did with this screen here. And what I want to do here is make sure that pieces are presented the best way possible. So like this. So the product is presented in the best detail as possible, so that they can see it a lot clearer. So that they cannot see the pants like this. All you have to do is simply hold your Shift Alt left click, zoom in a lot closer in, like this, and now they can see the pants. We can even go all the way like so, position it in the center, and now they can see them a lot better, especially for these shoes, because they cannot tell the shoes from this. But because, as I said, images are premium from Envato Elements, and they are extremely large in size, and they contain a really high quality in them. So when they zoom in, they will not lose quality. So finally, let's deal with the glasses, and all I want to do is simply zoom into his face so they can see the glasses, keep the hair in, make sure it's in the center, like that. Click outside, and there we have it. So now one final thing we need to do is create a scroll group. And if you jump right here and make sure you're on the latest version of Adobe XD to do this, you have all of these scroll groups. So you have a horizontal scroll group, so left and right, which is what we need. You have vertical scroll group, so top to bottom, and finally on all sides, which is great if you want to integrate maps in your designs. So once again, simply select that product, click right here to create this scroll group, and you can go to the bounds if you want. So for example, like so, and just show this group where you want to scroll. So for example, from here to here, or from here to edge, which is what we want, and so on. So you can even extend this to go back to here if you want to, but I just want to keep it right here. And to show you how that looks like, let's quickly hide our columns, click right here, and you can see how that looks like if I click and drag. So it goes all the way to here, but I just want to extend it maybe just a little bit, just so that we can see these glasses. So let's jump right in, maybe to here. Let's preview it now, see how that looks like. So perhaps we need a bit more space on our repeat grid. So if I jump to my repeat grid, you can see where it ends, and that is where it ends with our repeat grid. So maybe like that. If I click now and preview it now we can see the entire glasses text as intended. And finally, I can bring this back in if I want to, just so that it clips to here. And now when you go all the way back, you can see it clips this image in. So it's really up to you how you want to do this. And now let's move on and create those circles. So for the circles, I'm just going to use circles on the top. So you can use any one of these, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, move it outside of your group like that. And let's see, let's start with the one with glasses. So first things first, let's change the color. So I'm going to use this color, and for the border as well, like that. I'm going to position it somewhere around here, so near the glasses, for example, right here on his face. Now let's create the name for it. Let's call it outer circle. Let's duplicate it, call it inner circle, like that. Now for the outer circle, we don't want the fill, but for the border, we want something like 2. Sorry, I need to do that one more time. So for the outer circle, we don't want fill, we want border, something like 2, like that. And for the inner circle, let's see, maybe we want to lower it down a little bit to 30 by 30, like that. And make sure those two are in the center like this. Let's see where it went off. Let's try that one more time. So in the center like that. And finally, what we need is that icon. So I'm just going to use that close icon, drag and drop it inside. Make sure it's in the center like that, center like that. And finally, I'm going to group all of them. Or even better, I can make a duplicate, because for this particular image, I want 3 of them. So I'll group it just so it's a little bit easier for me. Maybe I can position it right here, and finally this last one on the pants, like that. So let's organize them. These are glasses, and they are going to go to the top. This is shirt. And finally, these are pants. So what we're going to do is create this basically pop-up window, which is going to show up. So I'm going to place it right here, so it's easier for us to organize things, because this bottom BG is going to go on top of our image. Maybe we can even move all of this down like that. And maybe we can even call it bottom info. So it's easier for us to understand, okay, this is top info, this is bottom info, this is the image, which is going to go right here, and on top these 3. So it's a lot easier for us to organize things. So now let's move on and include that pop-up. So for the pop-up, what you can do is simply use the rectangular. So I'm going to use the rectangular tool. Let's bring it in. So for example, to here. And let's see, maybe we can create something like, I don't know, let's first call it pop-up window, like that. Now for the dimensions, let's use something like 270 with 177. So just a random number. I will place it something like this, for example. Make sure it's 10 pixels down. And let's see, I'm going to use, let's see, 10 for the corner radius. I'm not going to use the border. Let's leave this white fill in. So what we're going to do is duplicate that one, call it image. Now for the image, let's use dimensions of 120 with 157. Make sure we are on the DDD just so that you can see where the image is going to go. Make sure we are in the center, and finally 10 on all sides. So let's go to 10. So if I go, you can see we have 10 on each side. Finally, what I want to do is duplicate this text from right here. So jump inside and duplicate this text. I'm going to go right here and simply make sure to move it to the top. So we are going to position it 10 from our image, like so. Now call this glasses, change the price to 15, like that. And make sure we are on the, let's say 10, just so that we can have everything at 10. I'm going to position this just a little bit. Finally, I'm going to duplicate this, move it down to 10, like that. Finally, I'll go right here, make sure this is at 12. So this one, let's see, be at 10 once again. And finally, convert it from point text to area text. Just make sure it's at 10 on this side as well. So shift left and position it to here. Now you have that nice looking paragraph location. And what I'm going to do is simply duplicate what I already wrote in a previous example. So simply copy and paste it in like that. And that's basically it. All I need to do is simply include that image with our sunglasses and do the same like I did with the bottom information. So simply zoom in a lot closer. There we have it. And that's basically our pop-up window. So what we need is to group all of that information in. So from here to here, hit Ctrl G. I'm going to call it Popup Info, like that. And then I'm going to duplicate this pop-up 2 more times. So hit Ctrl D, move it outside of our glasses, hide this, move it into the shirt, then position it here, hide this for a second. So pop-up info, where is my shirt? Here it is. So 10, same like we did last time, position it somewhere around here, for example. Then we can hide the shirt, pop-up info goes into pants. And for this one, we want to position it on top, shift 10, maybe right here. So what I'm going to do now is go and change the text for the pants. So let's first call it pants. This is going to be 43, which is the price. And finally, I will select the text I already entered in my previous example. We have the pants ready. Now let's do the same for the shirt. So go to the pop-up window. Let me see what text I have created for it. So for the shirt. And finally, price is going to be 29. Let's include the image for the shirt. So drag and drop. As I said, images are huge, so you can zoom them in as much as you need. Let's leave it like this, for example. It looks good and it shows the product really well. Now let's quickly hide the shirt, and I need to change the image for the pants. So finally, let's locate that image for the pants, drag and drop it in, double click, enlarge it all the way to here, and I can maybe even enlarge it just a little bit more. So here it is, And basically we are done with this part. Now all we need to do is create some animations and bring this into life. So let's first hide this and start with the glasses because they are on top. So I'm going to go and lower the opacity of my pop-up info. So double click on my 0 key. Do the same for the shirt. So hit 0 2 times, or you can go right here to the right and lower the opacity that way. It's really up to you. Then hit Ctrl K on glasses, Ctrl K on the shirt, and Ctrl K on the pants, or Command K if you're on a Mac, obviously. Now these are going to be our default states. What we are going to do is create clicked state for each of them. So simply type in clicked. I'm going to also copy that text. So to create a state, you can simply click right here on the plus, new state, clicked, and go to this one, new state, and clicked. Now we are going to edit the clicked state for each of them. So let's start with glasses, hit 0, or go right here to go to 100%. And all I want to do is simply rotate this icon like so. So to go from X to plus, and if I switch between the states, you can see, so it goes from X to plus, and that's all it does. Now let's go for the shirt, clicked state, hit 0 on your keyboard, and finally close icon. You can simply hold your shift key and rotate it like that. Let's check it out. You can see how that looks like. And finally, let's go to the pants, clicked state. So just make sure you are on that state that you want to change. Hit 0, close icon, and I'm going to just rotate it a little bit. You can see how quality the image actually is. You can see the texture of the pants. That's why I said it's always better to use premium images rather than free ones. Now, finally, what I want to do is preview how this effect is going to look like. But to do that, we need to do some prototyping. So click here. Let's go to the prototype, and I'm going to save all the other prototypes to the last video of this series. So in this video, we're just going to deal with this prototype real quick. So let's quickly tap like that. And what I'm going to do is simply just make sure that you are on the default state. Click on the inner circle, click right here, choose auto animate, choose state clicked, then go here, choose clicked, and do the same thing one more time. So instead of clicked, we are going to go to default state. And if I hit default state and hit preview, you can see how that looks like. So when I click right there, it's going to rotate, take me to the clicked state. And when I click between them, it's going to take me from state to state. So all we need to do now is simply do exactly the same thing for these two. So I'm going to choose inner circle because it's easier for me. Auto animate, clicked state, click on the shirt, go to the clicked state, inner circle, click right there, go to the default state. You can see how quick this is. Finally, let's go to the pants, inner state, click right here, sorry, inner circle, clicked, then go to the clicked state right here, inner circle, click right there, and finally go to the default state. And always go back to the default state right here in your main components, because you always want to start from the default state, because when you preview this, you don't want to start like this, you want to start like this. So if we test this out, you can see how that looks like. So everything is working properly. Now from this clicked state, you can choose for them to go from here to the next product or to the product section, or you can take them from here. So if they click right here, it will take them there. So instead of casual jacket, we're going to call this casual shirt, because that is what we are going to be presenting. I'm going to click right there, go to the default state, and that's basically it for this video. It's been a really long video, but I just want to explain everything to you that I can in this 40 or so minutes, so that you can have better understanding of this entire process from paper wireframes and drawings to Adobe XD, and how all of these states work, how scroll groups work, how repeat grid works, how all of that information works and morphs into one, so that you can understand better how can you integrate that into your own design style and into your own process. So that's it for this video. Make sure to check out previous video in the links below, and the next video is going to be launched next week. So just make sure you are subscribed, click that like button if you liked this video, and make sure to hit that notification bell icon so you are alerted next week when I launch new video from this series, where we are going to continue where we left off in this video with casual shirt, your cart and confirmation screens, and finally we are going to add some more animations to our designs. So I really hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.